Greetings Dusts, and welcome to another video. So, I have a little bit of a delayed deck report. As if you've been tuning into this channel, you saw my past few videos, you already know that I had a little bit of a mishap during the past week. That's why you are seeing this recording a little bit later than usual. I usually do these on Monday, today's Wednesday. I did not play at any locals this past weekend. The main reason for that is because I was judging an event instead of playing at an event. Uh, it was a really fantastic event. It had like 63 players. Uh, it was for 2 cases of Infinite Forbidden. There were a few interesting decks and a few interesting duels that I saw. I might talk to some of the players later in the future, or maybe give you more analysis on what I saw, because there was very interesting stuff. There was an Exodia player that almost made it to the top 4. So that was a little bit wild. What I'm going to show you is an updated deck profile, because I did update the Ritual Beast deck. Julio Valls had an interview with EDYGO. It's a very, very, very well made video. They pretty much explained the deck in and out, explained his reasoning for playing it into the format, and I think this doesn't come as a spoiler. Julio already confirmed that he will be playing this at Worlds. So right now, Ritual Beast is in a very very favorable position this format, despite how really deranged the format is. This might be my last Ritual Beast update. I'm not entirely sure on that. I do want to experiment with other decks, but I did make some changes, and I do want to explain my changes behind them. Some of them are influenced because of Julio's performance, so I do highly encourage you to watch that video if you are interested in this deck, or you're interested in like Julio's reasoning, because he did make it to the finals. And I'll keep prefacing this. He is a way better player than a lot of people are giving him credit for. So I think he really does deserve like a lot of notoriety. He is going to start a second channel because he's mainly Spanish. He wants to make an English dedicated channel. So if that ever happens, I'll put that into the description. But I will post the interview video in the description, so that way you guys can see it more in depth. But yeah, without further ado, let's begin. Elder, Lara, Wen, Winda, and the 3 Laras. I got the 3rd QCR. 3 Kana, 3 Pengus, the Apelio, and the Pedalfin. I think this is pretty much standard by now. The only debate is Pelica against Pedalfin. Flag, Corridor, Protoss is now in the main deck again. Yeah. Inheritance, Telly, Talents. Until this card gets limited, it's staying at 3 in my deck. I bumped Eclipse back to 3. 3 Imperm, Steeds, Ambush, Statue. Let me move this carefully. Extra deck. Chemo Falcos, we're still on Rabbit, you already saw a Statue, IP, SP, Apo, Retiari, Banshee, Noku, Carnahawk, Apelio, Gaia Apelio, and Colossus. So side deck, Parolia, Ash Blossom, Droll, Storm, Duster, Evenly, The last card is anti-spell. Okay, so explanation time. Let's start with the side deck real quick because it's the one with the most changes. I am playing this 6 cards now. What I did was I cut Cosmic and I cut the control spells. So the reason behind cutting the control spells is because Desiree is now part of the format. Desiree is a really hard card to deal with. Control snatching cards are not that good anymore because you cannot take control of Desiree. You cannot bait the Desiree negate with them. And if you try to take something else that is just more important, then the Desiree will just try to help with the negation. So I felt like this and Storm, because Storm is also a new addition. So I just felt like cards that do not target, that serve as board breakers, are way more important. The reason we don't play Droplets is because it conflicts with Shifter, and there is no reason to cut out Shifter when we're going second, except the Mirror Match, I guess. And even then, it still like works in our favor to some degree. So I just figured cards that do not target, that serves as board breakers, are like a better approach, especially with Desiree in the format. That's why you see the Lightning Storms now. And I felt like we had enough board breakers in our deck, especially also in the main deck because we are playing Eclipse and Talents, that we just don't need that many more cards to just influence our plays when we're going second. So let's talk about Perolia real quick, and I'll put this here. So this is something that Julio did on his side deck, and a lot of people are doing that as well. I think this card has proven to like actually function well in the side deck against certain strategies. You want to draw into your hand traps, except against specific matchups where you just want to draw like your board breaker cards. The thing to take note of is like you need to be careful when you're playing against opponents that really can play well into this card. And my explanation behind that is like people often forget. In fact, I think Julio forgot that in the finals. I did do a finals commentary. Like people often forget that you have to return cards if you draw a surplus to what your opponent has on the board. So it's easy to play around this card if your opponent just makes a minimalistic board and they just try to like influence your hand and make it awkward for you to play against them. So that's where the hand traps come in. Like you just make sure you draw into something that just stops them from like stopping you. There are a few FTK decks in the format, like Gimmick Puppet, for example. So you just want to make sure that you just don't lose to those cards, and these cards just make it very possible. You probably noticed that Dominus Purge is no longer in my main deck or side deck. I just felt Ash is a little bit more versatile. We are not siding Ash against Snake Eyes, but we are like just siding Ash in general against a few other strategies. So Anti-Spell, this was influenced, like half of this side deck is influenced by Julio's side deck. We don't need to play Floodgates in this deck. Like I think Colossus and Protoss and just Gaia Pelio and Statue are just enough to just control the game if you're going first. If we draw Shifter, that's just another lingering effect your opponent has to deal with. So I just felt like we really don't need that many cards. You can make an argument for Dimensional Fissure. It helps play around hand traps better. It just influences the good matchup that you have against graveyard-centered decks. It shuts down the Fiendsmith engine, which is also really important. But I just rather just simplify the game and just play with whatever I have. I feel like out of every floodgate in the game, Anti-Spell is like the most important, which is the main reason why I decided to play this. I did hear Julio's interview and he said that he would cut this card. But so far in testing, I think this is fine, especially since it's another card for the Tenpai matchup, which is the most popular deck in my area. It's even more popular than Snake Eyes. So yeah, that's the reason behind that. So I think that covers the side deck. Um, like a lot of people main deck this card. I just rather have as many flexible cards in my main deck that are both good going first or going second, and evenly it's just a strict going second card. Okay, so the biggest changes is Dominus Purge is no longer in the main. We're playing the third Eclipse again, and Protoss is back into the main deck. So, shoutouts to Joe. He was my technically only loss. I did give him the win, but I could have tied the match if I wanted to. But I was close to 3 ties on that tournament, and I didn't want that. And no, I am not gonna play time cards. I faced a Jubel player, shout out to Joe again, whom did full combo, and I broke through his board entirely with just engine cards. But Protoss was not in my main deck, so I could not capitalize on his follow-up. And that costed me the game because he just rebuilt his board and just contested against what I had. And the most problematic monster that he had, that I just misplayed around because I did not know all of its effects, was the Verudras XYZ monster. So yeah, I fell victim to that card twice in the Jubel matchup, and I just felt like it kind of warrants Protoss to just go back to the main deck. Now I have an influential decision of just doing anything against the deck, the matchups that I face. The main reason for Corridor was because I wanted to blind Colossus more than blind Protoss. But Protoss serves as a going second card as well. And if you know what your opponent is playing, then Protoss is just as good as Colossus. So that's the reasoning behind that. But yeah, we are close to banlist season. Konami already confirmed that at the end of this month, in August, we will get a Forbidden Limited list. It's still unknown what could we get from there. If I have to make an educated guess, they might take an approach similar to what they did in April and just hit generic cards that they know that could be problematic for the game instead of just engine cards in a lot of strategies. That being said, I think Snake Eyes do deserve a hit because it is the most influential deck that has been performing in the format, and it has the strongest engine besides Finsmith right now. I already know what changes I will make if Appaloosa, for just to give an example, goes away. I don't think SP Little Knight is going away anytime soon. Same with IP. It's just got announced in their Mega Tins. So, but yeah, kind of a little bit of a shorter deck report. You guys already seen Ritual Beast enough times already. I do want to play other decks. I guess I can show you a little bit of a preview of what I have planned for next time. Let's see. This, if you stayed on this channel enough times, then you already know what I'm trying to what I'm preparing for next time. But you know, just to get a preview, this will probably be the next deck I'm be working on. But yeah, that's it from me. I hope you found this informative and to your liking and understanding. Keep practicing and keep dueling.